I forgot to update the stream info to triangle 32. I'm terrible at that. Don't be barking. I do apologise for a late start. It's not going to be the longest lace making video I ever made. Because, well, I am absolutely hanging. But here we are. So, let's see. We are ready for number 32. So I've got to turn it round because, well, all the bobbins were left at the bottom of the thing. And I needed to move them out of the way. And I finished chopping all of the little sticks to make bobbins out of. And apparently I've slightly sprained my arm. Or I've overdone it, whichever way you want to think about it. I have severely hampered my arm somewhat. It did not appreciate it in the slightest. So let's move you, because we know we're going to need you. And we know we're going to need you. And we know we're going to need you. The rest of you are going to be a bit more optional, but you're nice and long. So we can tuck you over here. And you're also nice and long, but you've wound yourself around there. Well done. So you can tuck yourself. The rest of you are a bit short. So let's be dealing. Stop with the barking. Oh, seriously. My arms. They're like little lead weight things on the end of my shoulders. Rory is having a woof. Rory fur. Now, these are not too short, to be honest. Yes, I know you're all barkety today. So let's just kind of even them out a little. Oh, seriously. Oh, my arms. What have I been up to? Well, as we know what I've been up to. I also took a few minutes. I am handling them with care, for the colour does come off at this point, but I have been colouring them in. I did not colour the whole thing in, however, because I do have to lightly sand one end. So I coloured one end, and I'm going to leave them to, you know, mature and sink in a little. And then, and only then, bobbins, indeed. Why does my chat not show you talking? Why does... Okay, so OBS is going to be annoying today. For some reason, I don't see... There we go. Let's shut it up a bit. I didn't see your message. So yes, potential bobbins this market. Rory, my arm's already tired. Please don't maul me. No. Little man, you are loved. But seriously, I've been hugging you for like the last Christ knows how long. Can I have slightly less dog in my... No. Apparently got to have my thumb sucked. Little man. Pain in the arse you are. Yes. Little man. Lick, lick, lick. Come on. Enough. Right. So yeah, I've almost lost the ability to grip with my hands from chopping those sticks. Because although I graduated up from my loose scalpel blade to a box knife, they're a lot tougher to cut than you might think. And so, having done a lot of cutting with them yesterday, because, well, frankly, about 99 of them, well, 44, well, no, whatever it works out to be, 49 of them, So I've also now got a packet of other ones to colour. But because I've chopped them all ready to go into a bit more mass production-y style, I thought, you know, it's something I could do casually while watching TV, because it is not exactly, you know, difficult. And I'm right, it's not exactly difficult. What I failed to take into account is that, like any muscle that you don't use like that for a long time, and then suddenly do something, it doesn't like it. So, oh, actually, twisting these bobbins is painful. It's actually really quite painful. Because obviously I'm gripping said stupid little wooden stick, and then I had problems with my box cutter, which I can't see off the top of my head, but my box cutter had a belt clip on it, and this was giving me blisters, because of course as you're trying to roll the knife and cut through the stick, it was rubbing on my fingers, and my fingers were getting sore. So, oh dear me, oh the pain. I'd forgotten how painful this is. Yeah, as I said, it's much like when you've been on holiday for 2 weeks and I know you've laid around the beach or you just didn't get up early, whatever, and you suddenly, I know, decide to go out in the garden and weed the garden for 4 hours. While you're doing it, doesn't hurt. Next morning come the regrets, right? This is where my arm is at. My arm is at the you will regret this point of I never knew. Yeah, I'm going to moan a lot about my arm. I do apologise, but dear Lord, my arm hurts. And it was funny, because obviously I wiggle my fingers for a living. Doing this isn't so bad, so I didn't notice. Oh dear Lord, how in the name of sanctity did I do this? Well, I know exactly how I did it, but I also feel like my hand's slightly swollen, and in fact, looking at it, I'm not wrong. It's not ridiculously swollen. I've definitely had a lot worse. Clearly it has extra water in it, for it is, I would say, arguably noticeably bigger than my left hand. So this one is, just bear in mind they're parallel, so they are side to side. This one looks nearer than the left one, so it is slightly swollen. Clearly it is offended by life. Yeah, I can feel that. I'm not going to notice, but hopefully, having done them all, I will not require to do any cutting of them again for a while. So hopefully that's definitely a thing. So yeah, how did I not know that it was going to do this? But it's the same as everything. I remember a friend of mine, I was around their house one day and they were like, Liz, I need to get fit. Okay. I bought one of those, everyone will remember the 1980s workbench, where basically it was a padded thing with a few bits of metal struts all over the place, and you could like stick your feet under for sit-up, hold on to it for sit-ups, or stick your feet under it for, you know, or whatever, and, you know, or for leg lifts or whatever, and you could do all of that with it. So we set about doing sit-ups. Didn't really faze me in the slightest. We did turns of about 100. I've got a feeling we did 100, because I remember them being a decent amount of work. Maybe we only did 50, but we did sit-ups. And because you had things to tuck your feet under, it really didn't seem like a lot of work. Next morning, went to sit up. Oh dear God, kind of rolled out of bed. Oh dear God, crawled to the toilet. Oh dear God. And then of course you try and laugh or fart or sneeze or whatever. And it's like, ouch, no. And you're like, what did I do? Oh yeah, we did some sit-ups yesterday. That's kind of where my arm's at. It's that, hey, I decided to do a buttload of sit-ups, having not done any for like 10 years. You know, this is your penance. Yes, apparently this is my penance. So, I am indeed feeling regretful of my actions. Well, for all the right reasons, obviously, but you know, I have the post sufferings of trying to do good. Oh, dearie me. The worst thing is when I rub it, it's not sore. It's only sore when I actually do something. I can't believe actually I didn't notice how much fat on my hand was. Oh, whatever. It's not terminal, so it's fine. So yes, I do apologise for the late start, but I really crashed and burned after work today. I just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth for a while, into the land of Nod, and was completely oblivious to life, the universe, and everything. I think I had tea, but I'm not actually sure. I'm pretty sure I did. I remember eating something, but maybe that was lunch. You know, you know. I've had to use the clock to make sure what day of the year it is, you know, because I could be wrong. So let's do the usual shenanigans to get the edge piece to the corner. Oh, I suppose that's one thing. Pulling the pin doesn't hurt any more than just general arm movement, so for some reason my brain is already melting gently at the edges. Well on brain. Nice to know my brain's truly with it, you know. Yes, I don't expect to be doing this too long, because I need to go to bed. I normally end up going to bed really late, considering it's a work day and my age. But I desperately feel a need to lie down in the warm, comfortable, snug bed and let today pass without further ado and all of those kind of moments. So what did I do that made that so hard? It's weird that it's the rolling action, because let me use this, the famous this and this as a knife. All I did was kind of chop, roll, because my box knife is quite short and actually the handle gets in the way of doing it much better, so you have to kind of do lots of chop, roll. So it's not like, I mean, I only had to hang on to the box knife and it's quite chunky. It's, you know, and today painting it, I mean, again, it's not exactly small and dainty here. And all I did was hold one end and go, put it on the end, twiddle. I mean, it doesn't hurt doing that. So hence I've got to now, before I've realised that actually I've kind of overdone it a little bit. Well, of course I've overdone it. I'm over 50. You overdo everything when you're 50. You breathed 3 more times than normal today. Well, that's it. You overdid it. You know. Now, did I push down the edge pins yesterday? Don't think I did. In which case, let me turn this and check. Because No, I didn't. You see, I'm awake. My brain said that I had not, so let's... Well, I have indeed stolen the wrong pin already, which is, of course, why we're pushing down the edge pins. So, we can go to there, and what we will do is we will steal you, and just for good measure, for the moment, put you in there like that. There we go. It's not the most essential part of life, but right. Holding this, oh goodness, holding something like this, you know, as you do, one hand under, on top, and just the weight of my pillow. Now, bear in mind, this is really quite a lightweight pillow. You know, it's kind of not exactly made of strong and heavy stuff. Oh dear goodness me. I almost feel like getting a huge bowl and just like putting my arms in it and like letting them chill. That's how much they really hurt. It really truly is the, you know... Oh, goodness. Oh. Right. Shows what a wuss I am. Right. So how you doing, Flusenvy? How's the world treating you today? Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Glad to hear it. We like to hear. Ooh. I have to say, right? I mean, like most people, every so often, now maybe not as often as it should be, but every so often, I go through my cupboards and all the rest of it and throw out out-of-date tins and packets of things that I'd forgotten about or just never got around to using. It's not that, you know, it's not that you didn't know it was there, but it had quite a short shelf life, for example, for like bread stuff, so yeast and things. And, well, Chancesaurus is dead now, so, you know, you go to throw it away. But why is it that, let's say, you do it every year? Why is it that you come to it and there's something that's like 14 years old and out of date? Why didn't you notice it last year, or the year before, or the year before that? Why is there always at least one item that you look at and it's horrendously out of date? You know, it was around for like the Crimean War or something, and yet it's in your cupboard. You've moved houses, you've you know, had big changes in your life, and yet there it is. You know, I seem to be very good at that. I seem to look at my cupboards and find something and go, 2006. I think you're a little bit out of date. How come? I mean, when I moved in here, I didn't bring food with me. So, how can it be from before I was here? But they can be. I've seen it happen. Let me take my jumper off. I know it's going to sound weird, but the weight of my jumper's proving a bit much. Oh, dear me. Oh. Also allows me to check that it's not bruised and I haven't done anything daft to it. Because, of course, when I put my jumper on this morning, I didn't frisk myself for stuff because, well, I don't need to do that normally. So, you know, I didn't think to look for injuries and... It's not really warm enough for anti-jumper life, but... I've also got a number of sore bits on my fingers. And I got one or some on my toes. I don't know what I've been up to. But I've suddenly got... Quit with licking of the cushion. I've suddenly got loads of little sore bits. So like this red bit here is quite sore. Hence, it's redder than all of its friends. And I've got a toe like that keeps ramming into the end of my shoe, which is not helping it in its angry state, you know. But of course, if I took my shoe off, I'd stub it in everything, because that's the way of the angry toe. Because I'm sure you've all found this, you're all older than 12. Should you have a sore toe for whatever reason, I know you kicked something, you kicked the edge of a table, your bed, whatever, you've got an ingrained toenail, you've just got a general infection in your toe from something, it doesn't really matter what it is. The moment it's really sensitive, everywhere you go, you seem to ram your toes into things to discover the edges of them. So you walk up to the sink, whack! Your toe has just found the baseboard of the cupboard. You go to some stairs. Now, every 5th stair, you whack it into the stair. Right? Everywhere you go, you trip over the floor. Not things on the floor. The floor. The perfectly flat, smooth floor. Yes, Rory. I did hear the poppy noise. I did hear the popping noise. Yes, Amy. I am aware of the popping noise. And it's outside. And so we don't care. It's alright. It is alright. It is. I know it's hard for you to believe, but it's alright. Please, God, don't let Rory start doing this. Because he is suddenly being more vocal, which I appreciate, which is, you know, not a bad thing, because, you know, he was being a bit overly quiet. So I'm glad that he has found his worth. But just don't turn into her. I can't cope with 2 of you at it. So, of course, that means that he instantly will. You know that, right? The only problem I have found with my new potential bobbins is that the colour does rub off. Now, I don't think it's... I think it's a bit like when you've overdyed something, in that it's not necessarily the colour coming off, it's the excess colour that couldn't be absorbed. So, hence they're in a cloth at the moment, for the cloth is for rubbing of stick, to help remove any excess dye, so that less of it ends up on my hands, because the little bit of thread, she says looking around and not seeing it, but the little bit of thread that I put on yesterday really did come off quite coloured. Now it might wash off because it's kind of surfaced, but also washing it might wash it in, because you know that can always be a thing. Otherwise, colour running wouldn't really be an issue, because it would run and then run off. But sometimes it likes to stay in. So I'm a little bit cautious of that, because obviously again, as this is not a speed sport, if you made something and all the colour rubbed off onto it and now it looked like you wiped your butt with it, you're not going to be overly pleased, especially when it takes you 3 months to spot it. Because until it's next to something that isn't so coloured, then, you know, because like a lot of these things, it's like the is it navy or is it black thing. If it's on its own, it looks black. If it's next to black, it looks blue. If it's next to blue, it looks black, you know. It's that kind of, you know, if it has a generic hue to it, you know, so it becomes slightly greyed, you won't notice until it's next to the white. So I am a little bit hesitant, but they do look fab. I am really pleased with them. I just need to find a way to seal them a bit that I feel will last, because someone did suggest, well, you could put PVA glue, and they've used that to seal things. Well, yes, but will it actually last? Will it actually, because what you really want is something that seeps into the wood a bit. So a really thin varnish would be ideal. But I hate varnish. I am the daughter of my father. Varnish is a swear word, so that's kind of a problem. But then, of course, my dad would never have coloured wood with a Sharpie, so, you know, let's be real on that. My dad did once dye wood with indigo. I remember him doing that. I remember him being purple for months. Then I also remember my mother had this real minging turquoise hat. It was kind of like, almost like a mesh like this, but like the holes were like this big, making a hat, and it was quite stretchy. And when I say turquoise, I mean, I don't suppose it will reach, there you go, kind of more like the colour of my mouse, right? It was that kind of turquoise, so it was quite a bright colour, and it didn't suit her particularly. But every time she washed this thing, you could have dyed half the planet with it. If you'd put that thing in the sea would be a different colour today. It was horrendous. It just, every time it got anywhere near water, this thing leaked colour like nothing else. I remember her washing it like 20 times to try and, you know, get it to chill out. It really didn't. Slightly gummy eye. To go with my dirty glasses. Problem is yes, I do have potentially dirty glasses, but most of it is the missing coating. Ah, this really hurts. I cleaned my glasses before today. Didn't hurt this much when I did it last time. Dear blimey, this is painful. There you go. That's a bit better. Oh goodness. How could it be so painful? Apparently we've got the beans now. I don't know whether you hear the distractional bean going on. We're having racetracks around the house. Oh, goodness. Right. And of course now I've got the itches, and that's a bit better. Okay. Now we're getting to the I need to convert to sideways stage, because you are taking up way too much room and you're going to fall off the edges. So we will convert you to sideways, out the way, and we will get you down. You can go by a second. Right. Oh, dearie me. So, you are done for the moment. You can go back in here. I do have to stop every so often to let a bit of blood back in my arm because it's definitely unimpressed with the world. Just realised that this should be over a bit more. Come on, if you're coming up, come on, Rory. Come on, if you're coming, come. If you're not, don't. Come on. Oh, there you go. But that doesn't mean maul me, okay? Put you in there as well. But that is now you done. Feels like this isn't flat. It's kind of not, actually. Well. Have to put up with it for a triangle, whatever it is. Fleece and V, well, you know, we were talking about mouse mats earlier. I said no mauling. I have no jumper on. Do not maul, dog. I'm beginning to realise that this also applies to lace cushions. I look at my lace cushion, and because obviously hands on it and wrists on it, and it suffers very much like mouse mats. Can't really wash them either. I will try my Orvers paste on my mouse mat, though. I will try that. See if that helps a bit. Weird to hear the bobbins against the pins because normally I've got it covered. So I was just looking at it from this end. Hey! Can we make a lot less noise? You growl at it. I need a... Make sure I push that in as far as I can. There we go. Because, well, it's only going to annoy me if I don't. And we will find one for this side. Yeah. Do the same. Push that in. Ow, that really hurt. But now I should be able to move my bobbins around without being too annoyed by it. So let's attach the front bit down a bit to keep it nice and taut. Some countries use vinyl and leather, and I have got a leather piece just in case, you know, the need feels essential. But I do tend to find that bits of cloth are perfectly adequate for this. Because all you need to do is just cover it up a bit. Stops you wiping your hands all over it, which is why I've thought, actually I will cover this up now, because it's the first time I'm going to be in a position to be wiping my hands around the previous work. The rest were all above. Even when they were halfway round, I didn't really do much with at this side because it was pending bobbins. But now they're all underneath, and so they're all the way across here. That is going to be kind of a regular touch point. So I do feel the need to cover it up. And I could have done it at an angle like that, but then I'd have to have moved my big pile of bobbins. I'll worry about that later. Potentially when I can move them all around this side and then cover it up and put them all back. So go with that one for a later date. There. And anyone who's worked in the field of computing will understand this. I just brushed my finger against the top of these nails and it feels like the back of a PCB, because I seem to have this amazing ability with PCBs to handle them, even if only in, like, you know, picking them out of the box, to lacerate myself violently on all PCBs available. I am a absolute queen of it. You know, if I build something, there is my blood in it. It's like a signature move. And slightly annoying, to be honest. Do not like bleeding in my surface. But see, look, I've actually cut myself on it. I don't know if you can see that. Hang on. Look, actually cut myself just by running my hands. I haven't got delicate skin either. I mean, I've kind of got old leather skin. I am the kind of person who can put her hands in, you know, bleach for half an hour, take them out and go, what? Whereas everyone goes, oh no, you can't possibly do that. Darling, I could do that with my face. So I really don't understand, you know. But, as I said, for some reason my hands are slightly battle zoney at the moment with you know, cuts, soreness, random sore points and you know, all the rest of it. So clearly it wanted in on the act. It was feeling left out. So it's decided to slice itself open. Right. And for good measure, we will pop these down. Well, could be worse. We've made a good start. Let's put you in a stick. Keep you safe and sound. Like that. Put you out of the way. Grab you. Although you'll get crowded. It's annoying because 5.5 bobbins is the exact right size for these sticks. They are slightly annoying in that sense, but right. We have to do this. So you're twisted twice. That's wrong. Okay. Do it in a minute. You will not be twisted, and you should be. So you need to go over there like that. Did I just twist you again? No. Right. So, the first pin is the worst pin. Then you go through you. You may wonder why I do that. Well, the answer is if I don't, the worker pair don't become the worker pair. Because I know it sounds stupid, but when you start, the pair that's there, you have to do some dancing, otherwise the one that actually becomes the worker pair is the one that was up here. So I do a bit of a cheat and it joins in, but I've done it the same on all of them, so it doesn't really matter. And more to the point, well, that is the point, they're all the same. Use a few extra bob pins here, because why not? It's better to have too many than not enough. You go in there like that. Sorry, I unbutted the microphone again. I really need to set it up the other way up, so at the moment it comes off the table, goes up, comes down, and the microphone sticks at the front. What I really need to do is change it so it goes back and up and the microphone comes out, so it's a lot higher up, which I can do, and I have done on a number of occasions. In fact, I apologise, but if I change that, oops, the only problem is it's not actually attached at the bottom. It's kind of just sits in a hole. So if I do that, I'm liable to headbutt it. But if I move it back a bit, it gets a bit higher up now. Right. Put the pin in the hole. Maybe. Gonna have to do some stretches with my arm later. See if I can't move some of that lactic acid that's clearly decided to settle there. Longer than everybody else. Let's put you on a stick. Because then you're out the way. There we go. You look like you are not the right player. So, did you just fart, Rory? I think you did. Right. Now, I know it's a little defeatist because part of me still wants to go on. But at the same time, I don't really want to do that rose grand square, really. So I feel a little torn. Much as I really love how rose ground looks, and it really isn't that big a deal, for some reason mentally, it is a bigger deal. I think it's because for the mesh on the outside, the standard ground stitch, you do 2 stitches, pin 2 stitches. For the cloth stitch bits, you do a number of stitches, pin, a number of stitches, pin, a number of stitches, pin. When you hit the rose ground, well, you do, where it's come from a cloth stitch bit, you have to do twist, cross, twist, cross, twist, before you even start. Then to do the 4 points, you do cross, twist, pin, cross, twist, round all 4 points. That's okay. And at the end, you have to do cross, twist, cross. So there are a lot of stitches to make up 4 pins. But you have to do them in the right order, and I think it's you do a bit here, you go over there, you do a bit over there, you do a bit over here, that means you do a bit over there. Then you come back, and I think it's the fact that it doesn't kind of flow in quite the same way. There are variants with different pinnings and different stitches and different twists, and because, as I've already said to you, like a lot of things, there are a lot of things you can do differently. So, for example, with the ground stitch, I could do 2 twists between each pin, and it would give it a tighter, more kind of, it would make it look more single thread between the two. Whereas at the moment, they just kind of cross over once, and there is, if you zoom really in on it, I understand, Fleissenby. I am out of sweeties. I am out of things to eat other than a bit of Nutella, I'm kind of down on my luck of the whole things to eat with sugar in that cheer me up. So, although I do potentially feel a wrap with an unhealthy amount of Nutella in my future, because round here we do not spread Nutella like Marmite, For those who are not sure, and you see, that's the difference. I need to do my food order for kind of Thursday, so I am running low on many things. And in fact, choices of food are little, because I've eaten all the fun ones. And it's not that I dislike them, you understand. It's not like I've got any food in the house I can't stand. Well, maybe except for that cauliflower rice that might still be in the fridge that I never used, because it was one of those. People have talked about cauliflower rice. Now, obviously, it's not rice, it's cauliflower. And I quite like cauliflower. I mean, which is quite surprising because it's pretty much the only vegetable my ex-husband won't eat. But done right, I like cauliflower. Done wrongly, I hate it as much as the next guy, right? However, I cannot bring myself it's one of the reasons I do Tesco's to you. So I go on an app and I say, I want baked potatoes, 2 pizzas, some chops, some mince, some chicken. I want tins of this, I want cans of that, I want, bottles of the other. And they go, yes, madam, that'll be this many quid. And I go, great, see you on Thursday. and they come on Thursday. Now, admittedly, you do book a sort of time zone. You can either, for cheaper booking prices, because you do have to book them, obviously. For cheaper booking prices, you can say at some point in the afternoon or some point in the morning. Or for slightly more, you can pick an hour slot, so come between 1 and 2 in the afternoon kind of thing. Well, I must admit, it's one of... I got into it during COVID when going out was really asking for trouble. And technically I am a high risk for ailments. And, well, I mean, in 7 months that I've been on here, I've not been sick. Part of the reason for that is I don't go out and do people. I don't go out and introduce unnecessary germs. And it's not that I have a problem with people in a technical format. You know, some things are required. You know, if you have to go for a blood test, well, that means going out. But at the same time, if I can avoid it, you know, hello, Will, you know. So it is kind of weird for me in that I do get frustrated sometimes with Tesco's for you because, and I know I'm not the only one. So if let's say I go onto the Tesco's app and I'm planning a party, so I order, 20 bags of crisps of various flavours. I order, 20 bottles of Coke and lemonade for people to drink. And I order, 20 pizzas, so there's a variety of pizza to eat at the party. And of course, when you book it, it's all in stock, because quite often it will say, oh, you can't order that right now. So, fine. But you've booked it all. When they come to pack it, say, Thursday morning, oh, we didn't have those pizzas, so we didn't bring any. If you've ordered 5 different flavours of something and you've not got one of the flavours, well, surely logic dictates at least fill it with the other flavours. There's probably I remember one year I struggled at Christmas because I booked my Christmas run. I think it might even have been 2020. I booked my Christmas run and well, I just know people who eat big, alright? But when you're sitting there and you've ordered Christmas dinner, so you've ordered potatoes and parsnips and carrots and gravy and stuffing balls and sausages and bacon and chicken, because I'm not against doing a turkey, but it's usually drier. I'd rather have a chicken. So, chicken is usually my go-to for these things. So I've ordered myself a chicken, and comes that, we didn't have chicken. Well, come on, and of course this will be like Christmas Eve. So what am I supposed to do for my wretched Christmas dinner now? You didn't bring half my Christmas dinner, I do wish that, you do get to leave a note, and say if you're going to substitute this, put that, or get the big ones, or you can put a note for the picker. I can tell you now, most of the time they don't read it. And their idea of some substitutions are hysterical. I think I've mentioned it before. As I said, ex-husband doesn't do cauliflowers. And he doesn't really do macaroni cheese either, even though it's just pasta in a cheese sauce, frankly. He really doesn't do macaroni cheese. He's got a real problem with it. He'll do other pasta and sauces, and he'll do pasta shells in a cheese sauce, just not macaroni, right? So when he orders, arse-numbingly hot curry, why do they keep putting macaroni cheese down? He's never ordered macaroni cheese. He's never ever once suggested that he would be eating macaroni cheese. He's not even ordered it for me. He has never ordered macaroni cheese. But they send him macaroni cheese. I ordered like a sweet chili chicken pizza. I know it sounds wrong, but it's not really sweet. It's just got peppers and chicken and stuff on it. So it's not really sweet, but it has got peppers, which are sort of sweet. It's not like it's got, you know, sugar and chili, you know, chili jam or anything on it, right? They obviously didn't have any. What did they sub for it? Spinach and broccoli. And I took one look at it and went, ew, no. And she looked at it and went, what? And I went, oh, they've obviously subbed my pizzas. Oh, yes, they have. As she looked at her little device. And I went, I have never ordered a green vegetable off you. What in God's name possessed the picker to give me broccoli and spinach? She went, oh, God, even I wouldn't eat that. It's kind of like, you know. So I do feel sorry for some of the delivery drivers because, as I say, they get to deliver some of the most revolting things. And it's almost but why would anyone even make that? I mean, broccoli on a pizza. I know cheese and broccoli can work, allegedly. As I say, I don't do broccoli, but I do believe that cheese and broccoli can be fine. So I get that. But spinach, broccoli on a tomato and cheese and tomato-y pizza-y thing? 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we just not do this to ourselves? You know, is this really the most essential thing in the world that we needed in our lives when there are so many other options? I really fancy pizza now. What time is it? 9:15. Okay, maybe eating a pizza is a bad idea at 9:15. Like only a pot noodle though. Alright. Now I know this is going to sound really weird. Nuggets, vegetable nuggets can work. Because, well, mushed up vegetables in a nice little tasty kind of bready type thing. Those are my best days, to be honest. For I am a sugarholic. I do really like me some sugar. Alright, let's take it. Oh, Jesus, my phone feels heavy. Let's take a picture. There was an event marked on Facebook in the beginner bobbin thing. Yeah, walking through it's probably a bit much. So, an event was posted. Dear God, dog, what have you been eating? So, it says the Lace Museum is having a virtual lace marathon on June 21, 10 classes, 30 hours, $60. There were, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the actual picture says, Lace Marathon get together, have a ticket, want to hang out and watch together, come join us on Saturday, blah, blah, blah. Bring snacks to share in a comfy camping chair and something to craft, bloody, bloody, blah. And, you know, it was the original text on it, because it's been edited, was basically, you know, it's $60. You need to be here because obviously it goes, you know, Lace Marathon get together at the Lace Museum in Fremont. Well, I'm not even in the right country for that shit. So, but I was intrigued by it's virtual, but you've got to be there. How does that make it virtual? Apparently, you don't need to be there, but there isn't really much information on the okay. So apparently you can go and watch, but there is going to be... The only problem, I think, as you well know from watching me do this, is if you're not there and there are live people there with them, how it's not, you know, how's it going to be done? You kind of want, you know, snippets and trailers from past events so that you can kind of decide that if you're expecting me to pay $60 for it, am I going to actually be able to see anything? What kind of stuff are you doing? You know, will you just have a bunch of ladies, I mean, and potentially men, obviously, but a bunch of people sitting around doing crafts and none of them will be lace? Because you've said bring crafting stuff. You haven't said it had to be lace. So, well, are they all going to be knitting? I mean, I don't want to watch how many hours of knitting. I mean, I know how to knit, and I'm not objecting to that, but if I paid for so many hours of lace stuff, well, then I kind of want the lace stuff. And if there is someone giving a tutorial, what can I actually see? And to be honest, it can be reversely true in that if you're there live, well, what can you really see if you're there live and there's 40 of you? Well, you're not all going to be able to stand close enough to have a good view, unless they've got, a bit like I have, the overhead camera set up and a big screen maybe behind them so you can see what's going on. But then you're almost better off being remote because you're going to have a better view. I find the idea of a live tutorial thing kind of weird, because unless they walk around with a camera to show what other people are doing, you know, walking around with, you know, a camera to show, right, this person's doing this, let me show them what I meant, you know, it's the, how do you really learn? I mean, I paid for a load of lace making videos, and to be honest, most of them are quite awful. For the amount of money and the amount of time that is a video, I mean, it's almost like watching my ones when I go off on a rant, right? But this is paying a professional, highly recognised in their field person to do it, and yet when you watch it, it's blurry because it's really old quality, so it's not high quality, you know, it's not high def or anything, it is fairly low def, and it's almost like 640 by 480 in resolution, so you can't really see anything. If you blow it up a bit to see better, all you've got is blurry. Their explanations, there are so many mistakes in it, and it's not the mistakes, I mean, hello, I make mistakes all the time, but when you're giving a tutorial and you say one thing and do completely the opposite, and you're the expert, this kind of sets a weird thing, because when you say do this and then do something else, well, which do you mean? Did you just do the wrong thing but say the right thing, or did you say the wrong thing and do the right thing? I'm a beginner, I don't know. You're supposed to be teaching me. And I found it very, very difficult. In the, a bit like if they were demonstrating how to do this square, they'd kind of do a few iterations of the ground stitch. They'd do a couple of rows of the cloth stitch. They'd do a couple of rows of the rose ground and how to turn a corner kind of thing. And then how to sew it off. But even the sewing off, they'd only show you a couple and then it would be done. And there's times it's really obvious that the one that they're showing you is not the one they were working on earlier. Well, so you made that many bad takes and this is the best of them? Because it's not even like they obviously screwed it up, so worked back like I do when I make a mistake, and then refilmed it. No, not at all. No, they obviously got a new piece of work, started again, because sometimes it's a different colour, sometimes the bobbins are completely different, and you're kind of going, this is not the work we were looking at earlier. Did you notice the mistakes that you made then and went back and fixed them, but haven't mentioned? Because, like me doing my square, you know that this is the same square because, well, you see it every day growing. And when I kick off, it's exactly where it was the day before. Well, of course, they'll have done, say, this much. The next time you see them, they might be ready to sew it off because, well, we've already covered all of that. Well, it's not really the same. There was a girl, lady, whatever, who recently posted about how she's got down warping her loom to 12 hours. And I can't express how grateful I am for her for saying that. Because if you watch all of these experts on videos, they claim that they warp their loom from deciding to pick up a cone of colour and picking a pattern to starting weaving in a couple of hours. Well, when you've got to measure out, 8 metres times 720 different coloured threads, it doesn't work that way. Yay! Well done! Congratulations, Solution V. I am so pleased for you. Because that's a good thing. We like that. No, I know what you mean. It is... There is... I know that it's called second sock syndrome. But there really is a problem with the repetition. When you have literally just finished one, starting an identical anything is hard going. And of course, I of all people know this from the 31 triangles that I've already done, right? Okay. But it is, whether irrelevant of name, the whole concept of second sock syndrome truly is a problem. And as I say, after 31 triangles, I'm kind of sick of triangles, to be honest. Which is in a way why I think the strips will be slightly better. Well, it is the repetition. It's just not the conscious reason. Fair enough. For me, I found that it's not a conscious decision that the repetition is a problem. But when you haven't made the sleeve yet, arguably it is slightly unknown, even though we've all made sleeves before, kind of thing. But it is the reason the other project is shinier is because you've not done that yet. So it is arguably the repetition of a sleeve. If the sleeves were different, so if one had like a cable down the middle and the other one didn't, your brain would be more drawn to completing said sleeve because it's different. You haven't done that one with this yarn in that pattern, etc. Whereas the whole new thing of the new shiny, well, hello, I'm talking to the lady who wants to make strips because she's bored of triangles and squares. It's not really that making, because, no offence, knitting, knit, pearl, maybe twist, few, knit, pearl, right? It's not that the direct repetition, because otherwise you'd be bored after row 3 of knitting, right? It is the, but I've just done this. Nothing new is happening. As long as something new is happening, there is interest. There is scope for screwing it up in new and glorious ways. But the moment it's the same stuff, hence 31 identical triangles later. Yeah, but you've done a sleeve now. You know what it's going to look like because you've got one. And making another just like it, well, you know you can do it because you've done one. And you know what it's going to look like because you've done one. And a friend of mine, although I don't relate to this in a food substance, she relates to me that when someone brings chocolate cake in for a birthday, she doesn't feel the need to eat it because she knows what it tastes like. Well, I feel the need to eat it because I know what it tastes like. However, I do think that she kind of has a point. If you know exactly what it's going to taste like, if you know exactly what it's going to look like, if you know exactly everything about it, it's not interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's the whole reason to eat the chocolate cake is because you know what it tastes like. And it's very disappointing if it doesn't. But I do understand it from that point of view, is if you've made something and you now set about making an identical one, but you've literally just done it, you've literally just done all these actions, you've got one, you know what it looks like, you know what it feels like, you know what it, you know how it all fits together, it's no longer a challenge because you know you can do it. And I think the new shiny, well, there's whole new ways to screw that up. The pattern could be wrong, and so I do think it is, for me at least, it is the repetition, but it's not that I don't want to do the work. It's a bit like I get bored of doing triangles. It's not that I don't want to complete it. I just at the same time don't really want to do it now. I need to do something else to distract my brain from the fact that it's literally just done this, and I need for it to kind of partly get involved and built in with something new, so that when I come back to doing it, it doesn't go, didn't we just literally friggin' do this? You know, it's a bit like doing the washing. You do the washing, you do the washing, you do the washing. By the time you've done the end of the washing, there's a pile of washing to do. And you're like, I literally just did that. And you're not interested in doing the washing there and then for yet another round because it took you 2 days to do it and now there's more washing. Because, well, you just did that. I've literally just done it. I want a break. I need to do something else. So it is in part a repetition thing. It's not specifically because it's a repetition, but it's because it's no longer a challenge. It's no longer new. It's no longer shiny because you've done one. That's where the repetition comes in rather than I am repeating it. I mean, otherwise I'd have given up on square 2, right? It is I literally just did this. I absolutely was doing this only a couple of days ago. And that is part of the problem, of course, with the triangle taking nearly a week. Because, well, come Monday, I'm doing the same that I did last Monday, and the Monday before, and the Monday before, and the Monday before. And it kind of weighs on your brain cell of, I need not to do this. Hence the strips, right? I will be doing the strips. So, on that subject, I am going to go and find me some food. I'm going to watch some telly. I'm going to put my jumper on and let my arm rest and let it stop whining about how hard a life it's had because I've used it. God forbid. But I shall see you tomorrow for yet another run of Triangle. And you, Fluce and V, I would suggest, if nothing else, one thing you could do is each time I stream, you work on a bit that is, which one's got the deadline? Is it the sleeve or is it the new top that's got the deadline? Oh, it's not so bad. So if you've got to do that within a month, yeah, do the shiny one. If the sweater is it was just in my list and it had got to the top, then, well, now it's second, so yeah, it can wait. I was going to say, if you needed to finish the sleeve by the end of the month, you could always do shiny one when I'm not streaming, and a sleeve when I am. That way you join in the repetition, but at the same time get to do shiny as well. But if shiny is the one with the deadline, full steam ahead on shiny. Well, it's a good way to kind of encourage yourself to do the chore, but at the same time have a distraction while you're doing the chore. I look forward to seeing shiny pictures. And, well, I shall see you tomorrow evening, hopefully for a slightly longer one, although, you know how the day can be. Idiots. I did a training course. I did a sexual harassment training course earlier this year, and I did all the bits, watched the video, yawn, did all of that, filled it in, ticked the boxes to say, yes, I agree to everything, you know, all the usual bits. And when I go into it, it says, yes, you've completed this course. Only I haven't, according to the system. It's kind of completed, but not completed. And when my boss went in, he said, I can see that you've done the course, but it's not shown. So he wrote to HR lady, and HR lady wrote back, yes, she's done the course, she's watched the video, but it's not counted. Oh, I've got to watch the video again. It was painful the first time round. So I've got to do joys of that. So, again, potentially there is scope for doing other things while the video is on, because, well, it's a video. So, you know, it's either that or can I slide to the end and have it marked as done, in which case that's a thing. I gave away one of my trade secrets for doing some of the training courses where I work. There was a training course about stuff on site, and of course we're all home workers. So, you know, knowing that the emergency number when on site to call for, you know, chemical spills and medical emergencies is this. Well, I can dial that number all I like from here. It's not going to help me. I've got to know the external version, and, well, buggered if I remember what that would be, because you'd have to work it out, because, of course, it's an extension number. So, and I'm pretty sure that I can dial it, even if I did remember it. Well, they're not going to come here, are they? So, why do I need to know? I'm a home worker. My entire job is based at home. And it was things like, you know, how will you determine the anti-static areas? I don't know. I don't have any at home. You know, what does it mean if it's got a yellow symbol on it? Well, it means leave it the fuck alone. But I don't do that in my own house because, well, there's only me, so I don't need to do that. If I've left something like on open wire, well, I did it, so I'll know not to touch it. Yeah. So, you know, it's like, there was a PowerPoint thing, and it was like, scroll to the end, get to the last slide, there's a thing to click on in the slide, click on the thing, you can do the course in about 7 seconds. And they were like, 7 seconds? I'm like, yeah. And that was me wondering whether or not I could do it for about 5, 6 of them. So, but yeah, I will admit that, especially when it's a training course I've done, like, repeatedly over the last 20 years, yeah, you know, I've read that, you know, I shouldn't stick my hands in the plug sockets, and yeah, I know that, thanks. I shouldn't lift more than that. Yeah, I kind of know that. You've told me enough. So I am slightly proud of my ability to cruise through some training, shall we call it. I've been known to do it. To be honest, do you think I really watched all that sexual harassment training? Because, of course, the bit with the questions and all the rest of it also had videos, and here's a scenario, little video plays. You know. I must admit, previously, under a previous employer, Pretty much, as long as you answered all the questions, it didn't matter whether they actually expected you, if you've already done the course, to just go and try and answer the questions. If you failed to answer enough of the questions right, you had to go and watch the crap. If you answered it right, though, clearly you know it, and you don't need to, so they would let you. But this training course clearly doesn't do that kind of thing, and I think maybe that's what was wrong with it, and all I did was answer the questions. But I'm pretty sure I started watching the video, because it does say I viewed it, so... Well, I obviously did something with it. Anyway, I've got that joy ahead of me. I might do that on Friday. I tend to do training and stuff like that on Fridays, because it's a day of I don't really want to do anything because it's only 5 hours. So, training on Fridays. That reminds me, I've also got to do my community day. I don't know when I'm going to do that. When's a really good day to be, well, bored? Going to count penguins. You're laughing, I know. I'm going to count penguins as my community day. For it is a relatively easy task, and one I may do from my house, and one that makes my company feel that I'm a good human being, for I have done something for the good of humanity. Yeah, I counted penguins. Apparently it's quite a favourite amongst many of us, so I'm surprised they don't ban counting penguins, but counting penguins it is. So I will be doing that in the next, because I've got to do it before the end of June, I think. Hang on, January, February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, I've got to do it before the end of June. So I've got to spend a day counting penguins. Yeah. Yeah, it's better than gardening or something. So, right, I will see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody, and thank you for coming.